I'd like to talk a little bit about the Fighting Fit and the Siege MMA program and how it's been evolving, developing and improving. The last couple of years, my own training has taken a bit of a turn. I've been concentrating more on the strong endurance protocols. That's a term coined by Strong First, Pavel Tsatsouline developed that, and it's based on the anti-glycolytic training. What that basically means is rather than the typical high-intensity interval training, there are longer rests and there are active rests. And all of the science, which has massively improved over the last few years, there's a lot more data, a lot more studies, so we really have to move with the times and update our training to make sure we're giving the absolute best and the most up-to-date training methods. How does this work? The concept is this: when you're training for power, if I tell you to hit the bag for 3 minutes or even for 1 minute, as hard and as fast as you can, your power will drop. After 30 seconds, your power is already half of its maximum. So therefore, the best kind of intervals for power training is the 10 to 20 second bursts, which is what we tend to use. And although I've been doing that for quite some time, there was a few pieces of the puzzle which, in my research the last couple of years, I've filled in some gaps. One of which is the recovery phase. The recovery phase can be active rest. So in traditional Chinese martial arts, you very often have exercises where there'll be a sudden explosive burst of power and then slow, maybe breathing, and then another explosive burst. Well, guess what? The science backs that up, that's a really good training protocol because it enables you to recover, but rather than just stopping, you're still moving. So how can I apply this, for example, to Fighting Fit? What it means is if we're working a combination on the bag, we're hitting bomb, full power, and then in between, we're shadow boxing and we're moving, and we're breathing, and we're shaking out the lactic acid, and you're learning actively how to recover, okay? And then in time, so that the next interval, this is the crucial thing, is equally powerful as the first. So that in the revised protocols for the Fighting Fit, say you're doing 5 minute rounds, the last minute of the last round, you should be hitting as hard as the first minute of the first round. And that's a new kind of way of putting the class together. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing that I've been developing, or I've been researching, is some of the hypoxic breathing methods. So people that do really, really high intensity training and really grueling sparring and shark tanking and so on, they tend to develop that kind of ability to deal with fatigue, to deal with, it's actually CO2 build-up and how to deal with that. What's the problem with that? You get injured, you get burned out, you get depleted. So there's lots of negatives to get that result. So what we've been using is a combination of breathing exercise with interval bursts, which will enable you to get the same benefit, but without beating up your body. I'm really interested in training smarter, not necessarily harder. And the thing that I'm not so keen on is people's idea that a good workout is one where you are absolutely exhausted at the end of it, or where you feel like you've been punished or beasted. And there's all these terms that are on social media where like you crawl out on your hands and knees, I've been beasted, it was a great workout. You could do that by running up and down stairs for 10 minutes. I mean, just go as hard as you can and you'll be beasted. You won't be able to walk the next day. If that's your gauge of how good a workout is, here's what I want you to gauge it by. Am I getting better? So we're going to be running 12-week cycles where we're going to be doing these periodization with peaking phases. It will be very scientific. And you'll be able to test yourself at the beginning. You'll be able to do the Fighting Fit program. And then you'll be able to test yourself at the end and wow, massive improvement. I did an experimental protocol last year. My good friend Pavel Matsek sent me an experimental protocol using strong endurance principles, and the results were ridiculous. I mean, my kettlebell swings with 40 kg that were taking me 10 minutes ended up taking me less than 5 minutes. I was easily doing get-ups with the 40. I was doing, strength and endurance just improved massively. And here's the crazy thing. The protocol was a 30-minute workout 3 times a week. And at the end of it, I wasn't exhausted and I just got much, much stronger. Now, we want to make sure we've got energy for our martial arts. If you're an MMA athlete, you need to be doing your sparring, grappling, kickboxing, wrestling, clinching. So you need to have energy to spare for your technical training. You don't want to spend it all in the strength conditioning. The other thing is this: people are training for, a lot of people are not interested necessarily in fighting, but just want to train for fitness. So Fighting Fit, it doesn't matter whether you're a fighter or you're just training for health and fitness. We're aspiring to get a certain, for example, a lot of people maybe want to lose some body fat or build some muscle. Now, if you look at different athletes in different sports, you'll see, for example, a 100-meter sprinter. They have less body fat than a marathon runner. They have more muscle mass. They're explosive. They're strong. And with a bit of peaking and glycolytic training, they can actually develop quite quickly endurance as well. So the sprinting protocols are very hard, short runs with long rests in between. Perhaps that's the way we should be training, right? Because if you go on the bag such that you're pacing yourself when you're going light for an hour, what you're now doing is aerobic training. You're a marathon runner, so you're not a sprinter. And fighting fit is about strong endurance. That means it's about being able to throw punches and kicks with high amount of power, because if you're an MMA fighter, you're going to need a high degree of power, plus you're going to need the endurance to go over several rounds. Well, that also turns out to be the best protocol if you're training for health and fitness as well, because the way in which we've periodized the training now, which is a massive improvement, means you'll be less tired at the end of the lesson. You won't feel like you've been beasted, but you'll be amazingly strong and you'll have great stamina. And by the time you've done the peaking phase and you test yourself, you'll be ready to fight, or you'll just be in the best shape of your life, depending on your goals. So combining the hypoxic breathing method, so we're going to be incorporating breathing exercises into the class, a new type of interval training, same great moves, same great techniques, punches, kicks, ground movements, everything the same as before, but a much more scientific progression. So I'm really excited. I want to see people making big improvements. I want to see you being able to swing heavier bells, being able to kick harder, being able to go for longer, and for the fighters, improving your performance in the cage without feeling like you've been beaten up, without being too sore the next day, and just generally enjoying the training more. So that's where I want it to go. I'm really looking forward to rolling out the new protocols, which will be starting next month. And also I'll be doing a MMA workshop next month as well. So that will be on a Friday night. I'm going to put the date in the comments here, and you can ask me any questions about these protocols, because we'll also be applying it to the sparring, to the endurance training, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So this is where we're going, new area, new level, always evolving, always learning, researching. Last year I went to Prague to learn the strong endurance protocols. I went to Hungary to learn I did the second wind course with Strong First. Always learning, always traveling, bringing the information back, improving the program. So it's continual evolution, and I want to share it with you guys and look forward to seeing you getting some great results.